You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries. As we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion, delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We're a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest and repeat offender. Welcome back, Todd Halterman. How are you, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, Ron Siegel? It's great to see you, buddy.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Well, I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or a plan to save you money. I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And, of course, we are celebrating today, having beaten anorexia. This is a good one, National Creme Brulee Day. I love creme brulee. Well, maybe it's just desserts I like, but creme brulee is one of my favorites. And there's some really good places to get it. Are you familiar with creme brulee? A little bit of a custard there, and then they burn sugar on the top, throw some berries on there. Sometimes they'll put a little dab, what do they call it? A dribble of whipped cream. It's not called a dribble, but dollop. Dollop, I think that's the word.
Dollop, there you go.
Dollop of whipped cream right there on the top. And at the end of a nice day, there's a lot of folks. In fact, I just did this the other day. National Scotch Day. So my family, my dad's side, has this long tradition. I have no idea how far back it goes, although I did get a taste of it. So my family tradition is when there's a major event, you get a bottle of scotch. So when my sons were born, there was a bottle of scotch. When I was born, there was a bottle of scotch. When my dad was born, there was a bottle of scotch, and it goes back for generations. It's opened and only consumed by the very inner circle, mom, dad, kids, whatever. Not usually the kids, maybe grandparents, depending. Although, in the Jewish religion at a bris, they don't use scotch necessarily, but it could be used. I mean, they've used wine for centuries before the actual deed is done. But just so happens, I had a bottle of scotch that we bought for my son's birth, his bris. He's 33 right now. We drank a sip of it. His grandparents, his mother and I and him had a sip of it at his bar mitzvah. Well, we just had another little bit of scotch for his wedding. He just got married on Saturday, so we had a little bit of a sip for his wedding. Now, his wife, I'm not sure that she's a scotch drinker, but you don't have a whole lot of it. It's just a little toast. So National Scotch Day has some extra special meanings in the Siegel family. I just thought, I don't know, I just throw that out there, share a little bit of life with you, a little of my life. Looking at the markets, the Dow up 136 points, S&P 500 up 58. NASDAQ is up 307 points. Why? Well, it probably has to do with maybe Microsoft. Microsoft is up 5.25 points, right? 5.25% right now, up 13 points. They announced earnings yesterday. Good. The market liked their earnings. I think Google announced earnings yesterday as well. Their numbers, and obviously we are not giving any kind of financial advice, but Google up 7.5% right now. Yes, I know they split their stock, so it's more affordable now, $112 a share. Again, no financial advice here. But with our market, our economy slowing down, those are still a couple of stocks that are holding on pretty well, and they're driving the market fairly nice right now. Though again, the NASDAQ is up 2.7%, up 310 points. Oil up a bit. And the president said he's going to sell some more of the strategic reserves. I'm probably going to sell it to China. So his son probably needs a little extra money for. I shouldn't say those things. His son, but he does. He probably needs a little extra money for his defense fund. 20 million barrels of oil from the strategic reserve. But the president has a plan. He's going to buy it back. He's going to wait till the prices are a little bit higher. Won't go to Texas to buy it any cheaper. He'll probably go to Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, Iran, one of those folks to buy back that oil. Hard to believe, but that's where we are right now. Federal Reserve, they're meeting right now as well. They come out about, I think it's 11 o'clock California time. They're going to give us their reading on what's going on in the world. So that'll be the Federal Reserve talking about that. We'll see interest rates increase by probably 0.25%. Does that affect mortgage rates? Not directly. Down the road it will, but if the market believes with the commentary afterward that the Federal Reserve is serious about inflation, well, then we might see some decreases. Even though the Fed is going up, we may see decreases in interest rates. That's the way it works. So we share that with you so that you have an idea. We don't want you to be surprised. We're not into surprises on Ron Siegel Radio. That's, as I say all the time, surprises are great. Birthdays and anniversaries, they're not great for business. So we're not into the surprise world here. So the Federal Reserve that's where they're going to really be. They're going to be increasing. Tomorrow we're going to get the first reading on the Q2 GDP. And regardless of what the administration wants us to believe, the NBER, they're the ones that actually call the recession or not. There's never been a time when there's been 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP when we haven't gone into a recession either right away or shortly thereafter. So just throw that out there for you so you know that regardless of what the administration says, we're going to be in a recession. We're heading there if we're not already in it. Is that good or bad? Well, we've got to get inflation under control. We've got to deal with that. We can't sustain 9%, 10%, 11%. Or if we were using the same methodology that we used during the Carter years, we'd already be in double-digit inflation. But they changed the methodology so it would look a little bit better. Now, we're going to have the inept secretary, Janet Yellen. She'll be coming out tomorrow because she wants to get ahead, or actually maybe even later today. She wants to get ahead of the GDP numbers. She wants to try and spin it that the economy is doing well. We've got a lot of employment right now. You can't have a recession when employment is where it is right now. Well, if you are a regular listener to Ron Siegel Radio, you will know that every recession, without fail, every recession is started when employment is at the absolute trough. The full employment, that's when you start a recession, right? If you had a massive amount of unemployment, well, people are not out there buying, they're not out there selling, they're not out there shopping, they're not out there getting new cars and houses because they're unemployed. So you're not going to see the recession start at that point. You're going to already be in it well before that. So look back in history for the last 40, 50, 60 years. And we've got the charts to prove it. If you want them, rj@ronsiegelradio.com, rj@ronsiegelradio.com. We'll send them to you, showing that every recession starts when we've got full employment, or said another way, unemployment is very, very low. And we're at historic lows right now, just as we've been sharing with you. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. Todd Halterman is with us today. We've got a lot to chat with him about. Debt elimination, tax mitigation, Roth conversion, dual direction strategy to make money when the market goes down. Do you think we're going to get to all of it? Nah, but you got to stay tuned and figure out what we might get to. We do know that we're going to talk about want to buy a home. Now may be the time. And we do have On the Town, brought to you by Visit Anaheim, like we do every week. You can reach me anytime, our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, and if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Is your budget getting blown up with high prices of gas and increased costs for household needs? This is Ron Siegel, host of the daily Home and Finance radio program. Did you know if you have a low interest rate mortgage along with auto debt, credit card debt, or student loans, your family could potentially save $500 or more per month by restructuring these debts? If you'd like a free Borrow Smart analysis with our team, let's book an appointment to see how we might be able to relieve some stress. Schedule your appointment at rsrbsa.com. That's rsrbsa.com for your free Borrow Smart analysis. rsrbsa.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The S&P 500 now up 57.71. I'm sorry, I should tell you the Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Well, should I take a look and see if the Dow is still? Yeah, the Dow is still up 57.87, even as I said it before I got the tout in. But let's see what's going on in the other markets right now. So we'll check those out for you as well. The 10-year Treasury down 2 basis points, yielding 2.77. Mortgage-backed securities are up 23 basis points. That means interest rates are down a bit this morning. And OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions. 30-year conforming rate mortgage, 5.589, down a little bit. These are yesterday's numbers. 30-year jumbo, 5.192, up a little bit. 30-year FHA loan, 5.522. And the USDA, that's our rural loan. Rural loan is the USDA loan. That one was yesterday at 5.473, and the best loan on the market for those that earned it. The VA loan, 5.213. 5.213 right now is where the VA loan is sitting. So Alex is here. Good to see you, Alex. Let's talk about why that is happening. Why are we looking at, whoops, I got to take that off the screen. Why are the markets doing what they're doing? Well, got a lot of news. First off, I talked to you in the last segment about the Federal Reserve and what they're doing. They conclude their two-day meeting again. Nick Timiraos told us that the Fed is going to hike 75 basis points. He's the new John Hilsenrath. He's the one that the Fed leaks to so that he can leak out what the Federal Reserve is planning on doing so the market does not get spooked. So that's going to be today at about 11 o'clock our time. Pending home sales. This was the one that was painful. Pending home sales measures signed contracts on existing homes dropped 8.6% in June. Ow! Much weaker than the 1% decline expected, and sales are now down 20% year over year. No doubt, higher interest rates are impacting demand, especially in June when rates reached their apex. We know that rates have improved since then, but this was a weak report, clearly shows that activity is much weaker. The MBA released their mortgage application data for the week, showing that purchases were down 1% last week, or down 18% year over year. And I'm not going to tell you their interest rates because that's old data. Refinances decreased by 4% last week and are now down 83% year over year. Refinances now make up 31% of all transactions. Why do I talk even about refinances? Well, the beauty of refinances we're seeing, as I've told you before, refinance now, consolidate all of your debt now, get the debt out of there. Even if you have to increase your interest a little bit on your first mortgage, look at what your household blended interest rate is, because now you're not married to the mortgage. Next year, when mortgage rates are lower due to the recession, and mortgage rates generally do go down during a recession, at least historically they always do, but I can't predict the future. But when the interest rates go down, you restructure that loan and you don't have the cash out refinance hit that goes into pricing. We talked about pricing yesterday. So pricing will be better, plus you don't have that extra hit, and you get rid of all that debt. That'll help your FICO scores go up. Remember, if you've got that utilization rate of your revolving debt below 10% or below 30%, that's going to count for 30% of your FICO score. 30%. The only thing that accounts more for your FICO score than the utilization is your payment history. So think about all that. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Let's chat with our friend Todd Halterman. How are you this morning, my friend?
I'm amazing. It's midsummer and it's great boating weather.
So does that mean boating weather? Does that mean you're in Idaho now, or are you in Washington?
I'm everywhere, man. I'm in Idaho.
Yeah, it could be. With the way the world is nowadays, you could even be in Costa Rica and we wouldn't know it. You use it, although you do have a different backdrop today, so it's a little. But that could be the same anywhere too. Never know. Todd Halterman Worldwide.
Okay.
So there's a lot going on in this world right now. The markets have been down. There's a lot of folks that I'm listening to on the stock channels, the business channels, and they're constantly talking about the idea that, we're going to keep on going down the markets and again, we're not giving any financial advice here. We're just a couple guys chatting. We're letting you eavesdrop in on Todd and my conversation. When we have inflation like this, when the Federal Reserve is increasing the discount rate like this, is there a history of market activity? Is it generally good for the market, bad for the market? Any rationale there?
Well, interest rates, as you can see, do have an effect on the markets. The markets do not like change. So when you find banking to get more expensive, you're going to find smaller companies that are really growing and reinvesting their profits into their business growth. Those stocks, and I'll give an example, the tech market, those smaller tech companies that aren't necessarily profitable, but they're growing and they've got momentum. Those are the ones that have pulled back 60 and 80%. You've seen IPOs come to a screeching halt, or a very slow entry, if you will. There's still only about 4,000 companies in the public stock exchange, as opposed to 20 years ago, there was 8,000. So there's still a lot of room, but these interest rates rising and banking getting more expensive is going to slow growth down and cause people to stop leveraging or shorten up their leverage, because it's going to affect a lot of households and their cash flow. So it'll help slow down the housing market, as you know, and present some what I'll call more normal economy. The last 3 years have been out of their mind growing, and it's like eating a big dinner at Thanksgiving. If you eat too much, you grow real fast, you're going to have a burp. And we have midterm elections. So interest rates rising, slowing the economy down, slowing the consumer down. Inflation rising is what's going to help the capital markets to expand.
Wait, that was a new one for me. Inflation rising helps the capital markets expand.
Yes. And to explain that in simple terms, if you
I'm a simple guy, I need that.
If Coca-Cola sells $20 billion of soda pop, and because inflation and cost of goods sold and labor is higher, Coca-Cola is going to have to raise their prices or reduce the amount of pop in a soda can to make up for that difference. But if their sales increase because of the extra costs and the extra charge, Coca-Cola is not going to reduce their margin of, say, 20%. So if you were at $20 billion of sales and now you're at $25 billion of sales, that affects the net at the top line and the bottom line. So you'll see companies have more profits, which helps that stock to expand. And hopefully those earnings help bring profits into the investor.
Interesting. Okay, so now I just pulled up a chart on my screen here, S&P 500, and I'm looking at it going back 3 years or so. And what was it? It was at 30. Well, I just hit the wrong one here. So let me just get back to. I want an S&P chart, and I keep getting a Dow chart. So I want to stick on the S&P. So it was at what, 4,300, and today we're at 3,900. About a 10% pullback.
Right.
And you and I have talked about that. The 401k now kind of feeling like more like it's a 201k because we've dropped back quite a bit. And now some strategies, I've talked many times that you use a Roth IRA, that I like to use a Roth IRA to save money for catastrophes. And what I talk about is I use that Roth IRA and we grow the Roth IRA in, real minimal amount and increase our deductible on insurance as the Roth IRA grows. But now when we're looking at our 401k, it's come down 10% if it matched, if it was all in an S&P fund. We're not, again, no financial advice. Is it something that I should consider cashing that 401k in and maybe putting those funds into a Roth of some sort?
Well, you know what? That's a really $50 million question because everybody has different tax rates and obviously income rates. So the closer you get to retirement, if you don't have a tax-free bucket and you have a lot of pre-tax, generally you should be building that tax-free bucket to get yourself in line where we can help you pay zero tax on your income during retirement. So over the next couple of years, there are programs available that you can put unlimited contributions into a Roth types accounts over the next couple of years. So if you're a high income earner, a high net worth, and you don't have a lot of tax-free money in a Roth, there are programs out right now where you can have Roth type contributions, tax-free growth over the next couple of years, and it's unlimited contributions.
Wow. And again, not giving tax advice either. I think there was a special exemption in one of the COVID bills that allowed you to withdraw money without a penalty, I think. And I don't know when that expired. But maybe we can talk about the expiration of that, if it hasn't already, when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. Want to buy a home? Now may be the time. And On the Town, brought to you by Visit Anaheim. All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. 1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. Want to buy a home? Now may be the time. There are more homes for sale today than at anytime last year. So if you tried to buy a home last year and were outbid or outpriced, now may be your opportunity. The number of homes for sale in the U.S. has been growing over the past 4 months as rising mortgage rates help slow the frenzy the housing market saw during the pandemic. Lawrence Yun, chief economist at the National Association of Realtors, NAR, explains why the shifting market creates a window of opportunity for you. Quote, these are opportunity for people with a secure job to jump into the market. When other people are a little hesitant because of a possible recession, they'll have fewer buyers to compete with, unquote. 2 reasons there are more homes for sale. The first reason the market is seeing more homes available for sale is the number of sales happening each month has decreased. This slowdown has been caused by rising mortgage rates and rising home prices, leading to many to postpone or put off buying. The graph that they're showing you right now, if you're watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv, any of our socials, shows that data from Realtor.com to show how real estate listings have risen over the past 4 months as a result. Active listings increased the last 4 months. Look at those numbers. It's going up pretty dramatic. The second reason the market is seeing more homes available for sale is because the number of people selling their home is also rising. Again, we got another graph that shows the new monthly listings coming onto the market compared to last year. The graph shows for the past 3 months, more people have put their homes on the market than the previous year. Bottom line, the number of homes for sale across the country is growing. That means more options for those thinking about buying a home. This is the opportunity that they may be waiting for if you've been outbid or outpriced over the last couple of years. And as always, I ask you, if you have any friends, family, or coworkers looking to buy, sell, or borrow on real estate, can I count on you to introduce us? That's the real-time real estate segment, again, brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. Continue our conversation. Todd Halterman is with us just to give you just our compliance things. No legal advice, no tax advice, no financial advice. This is education. We're just letting you eavesdrop on a conversation between Todd and myself. And if you want to learn something, if you want more information on anything we're chatting about, when I talk in generalities, that doesn't translate to you as an individual. Now, if you want information for yourself as an individual with your unique situation, because Todd's not going to waste our time, because the answer to every question I ask Todd is going to always be, it depends. Because your situation is not the same as my situation or the next person's situation. Call Todd directly. That's what he does for a living. That's how he supports his family. He'll give you the information that's right for you, your family, your situation. But we can't do that on radio. It doesn't make much sense. So before the break, we were chatting a little bit about Roth IRAs, Roth conversions. And I had asked, and I don't know the answer to this, and I know Todd's not the tax guy, but there was a carve-out in one of the COVID bills that allowed, I think, $100,000 withdrawal from your 401k. You had to pay the taxes on it, I believe, but I don't think you had to pay the penalty. Is that somewhat right, Todd?
That's correct. People were able to access their retirement accounts to supplement their lives without penalty.
Is that expired now?
It is expired. When they were allowed to take it out, it allowed them to take the money out and then divide that income over 3 tax years. So if you took $100,000 out of your IRA or 401k, then you were able to just take $33,000 and some change a year in income to spread out the tax liability. So that's expired, and they're now reconciling, obviously, the taxes on that.
Okay, so that's a strategy we can't use. But at least we're talking about what we can't do also.
You bet. And Ron, let's be real. A lot of people save money pre-tax, 401ks, IRAs, because they're getting the tax benefits now. But, as the closer you get to retirement and using that pile, you don't have multiple years to compound that pre-tax effect. And many people don't have big enough savings accounts for cash and they don't have large enough tax-free buckets. So if you're within 5 years of thinking about retiring, then you need to understand how to put unlimited amounts of cash away in a tax-free investment that is Roth-like. So over the next couple of years, you can make unlimited contributions into a tax-free account and catch your tax-free bucket up to that tax deferred bucket.
So that's a big issue right there, because I'm not a fan of the 401k or the IRA. I think there's better. I've been told there are better options than going with that 401k. My feeling, Todd, and I want to find out if I'm on the right track. So if I'm a young person, and I'm not, but if I was a young person and I take and put $1,000 into my 401k, and I know that's a small number. My goal, if I'm as a young person, I'm probably in the 25% effective tax rate. So I've got a $250 tax bill on that.
Sure.
Now, if that grows over time, as I hope it will, to let's say $10,000, and later in life, I'm probably going to be, unless I talk to Todd Halterman, I'm probably going to be in a higher tax bracket. But let's just say I stay the same at the same 25% tax bracket. Now I have to pay $2,500 on that same amount of money. Seems to me like it's a ruse by the government to collect more tax dollars.
Well, Ron, if you have 5 years or longer to get compounding effect of the growth, it makes perfect sense. But most people don't understand the rules of compounding growth and the cost of that compounding growth when you need money in retirement. I have people come into my office all the time and say, we need to go buy a new pickup. Well, trucks are $60,000 to $100,000 today. And in order for us to do that, we got to draw out 25% more than what they need for the automobile. So we call that a tax penalty. And, sometimes borrowing a little bit of money for an asset like that is a lot less expensive than paying the 30% tax to pay that vehicle off immediately. If a car costs 4% interest per year for 5 years, that's 20% over 5 years instead of 25% all up front. So there are smart ways to utilize your money and build tax-free buckets. So that's not a concern for you in your retirement when you have surprises or big vacations you want to take.
And that's why we get into, so often we talk about our borrow smart strategies, is exactly that reason, is that we want to be doing these things the smart way. And, again, if you need a truck, as Todd's talking about, you can tell that he's up there in Idaho talking about a truck. Down here we talk, Todd, I'm in Southern California. We don't talk truck. We talk Tesla, your definition of traffic is probably 10 people on the road, and we're talking 10 in the same vehicle.
Oh no, we've got little California up here now too.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I know you come down here to Southern California when you have to. So our traffic situation.
Yeah, I love being down there, man. Are you kidding me?
But the bottom line is just it's the whole thing is all about the planning aspect of it.
Yes.
And trying to forecast what your household, we all look at, okay, we're forecasting what's going to happen in the Dow Jones, and we have no control over that. But we have total control of forecasting. My car is 6 years old. What's the useful life on it? And, maybe in the next 2-3 years, I might need a new car or another car, because I might buy another used one. I don't like to buy new cars. They're too expensive. But I can plan that way if I talk to if I get in with a good financial planner ahead of time. Am I right there?
Well, yeah, because let me give you an example. You've been talking about debt elimination and debt consolidation to have smart debt versus bad debt. We've helped people put $20,000 to $25,000 a year and more income into their family by just helping them with a debt elimination plan and having smart debt and consolidating. So you put that $20,000 debt elimination to the work, then you can add more to your tax-free bucket, and it's all the same dollars you're using now. It's not having to find new dollars to save.
That's the key thing, is because right now not everybody, but a lot of people are really struggling with money because of the inflation. Gas prices are through the roof. Food prices, if you like bacon like I do, that the numbers are all dramatically higher. So we need to look for every possible place that we can save. Interest seems like it's one of them that may be the best place if you can reallocate that money properly.
And there's always places to make money in the marketplace in chaos. So it's just a matter of, are you diversified? Are you gaining access to areas that are strong? And if it benefits you to do tax planning and debt elimination planning, they can be done together.
Tax planning and debt elimination together.
Yes.
That's a whole new one. We're going to talk tax and debt, marrying taxes and debt. Okay, they're both on the same side of the balance sheet. So let's talk about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets on the town with Visit Anaheim. When we come back as well, you can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Is your budget getting blown up with high prices of gas and increased costs for other household needs? This is Ron Siegel, host of the daily home and finance radio program. Did you know if you have a low interest rate mortgage along with auto debt, credit card debt, or student loans, your family could potentially save $500 or more per month by restructuring these debts? If you'd like a free Borrow Smart analysis with our team, let's book an appointment to see how we might be able to relieve some stress. Schedule your appointment at rsrbsa.com. That's rsrbsa.com for your free Borrow Smart analysis. rsrbsa.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Every week at this time, Visit Anaheim gives us a few events on the town. We've got a major event of the week, a romantic event of the week, and a family event of the week, again, brought to you by Visit Anaheim. The major event of the week, Angels baseball. Catch the Anaheim Angels of Anaheim play the Oakland A's on August 2nd and the 4th at Angel Stadium. You'll see the team sporting their new City Connect uniforms. The recently unveiled jerseys were inspired by Southern California's beach and surf culture. No better way to spend a summer day than at baseball game cheering on your home team. You know, I'm a longtime Angel fan. I love watching the Angels, but boy, we need to get some wins out there. Holy cow, guys. I know you're trying, but it'll be fun when they start winning a few more games. Let's see, the romantic event of the week. You know, even if they're not winning, it's still fun going to the ball game with the family and friends. Romantic event of the week. Trivia wine night. Poorhouse Trivia is coming to Pally Wine Company at the Anaheim Packing District on Thursday, August 4th, 7 p.m. Have a day night and test your knowledge, all while enjoying some delicious wine in Anaheim. Poorhouse Trivia is always free to play, and the top teams will win Pally Wine Company gift certificates. I might have to go to that one. Family event of the week, Read with Pups. Read with Puppies at the Anaheim Public Library on Wednesday, August 3rd from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Children from kindergarten to 4th grade can practice their reading skills by reading aloud to Pet Prescription's team of training therapy dogs. Go to Central Children's Room to choose a book and read along with a furry friend. That sounds pretty interesting, going and reading with, although the kids, they all love dogs, love puppies. I have a new puppy, so I'm in on that one as well. That's On the Town, brought to you by our friends at Visit Anaheim. On the Town, brought to you by Visit Anaheim every week at this time. Continuing our conversation today, Todd Halterman is with us. So we were talking in the last segment about taxes and debt, and maybe we can minimize our taxes and our debts by following various strategies and allocating funds a little more efficiently. So give us a couple ideas here, Todd, if you would.
Well, just as we were speaking before, if a person's going out to try to find new money to save, and you're within 5 years of retiring, we tackle debt elimination because there's good debt and bad debt. And wouldn't it be nice if within the first 3 to 5 years of retirement, you have all your debts retired, and you were able to save $100,000 of tax-free money up in an account, so that when you have emergencies, you're not just using your IRA or your savings at the bank. I mean, it would be nice. So what we do is we set people down and talk to them about more efficient ways to use their money. And we have actuaries, that's people that have doctorates in science and math, that help us look at a client's way they pay their bills. And then that actuary gives us some resources and says, hey, with the money that somebody's spending right now, the same money, we can tell them how to pay their bills and how to allocate their cash, and we can get them out of debt in 9 years or less, guaranteed, if they qualify. Now, that means that every time we pay off of a debt, that increases our capital in our bank account every month. We average 20 months and all the unsecured credit is gone. 36 to 40 months, all the vehicles are gone. By the 9th year, the mortgage and sometimes student loans, gone. But you can imagine how much cash that creates for a household to put more pre-tax money away, or, tax-free.
Think about that concept. If you want more information on that, rsrbsa.com, rsrbsa.com. You can get a little bit of information to us, and we can put together a Borrow Smart analysis for you. The other one, if you want to see what it looks like for somebody else, again, this isn't yours, but we already did a sample. You can go to rsrrapidpayoff.com, rsrrapidpayoff.com, and that'll actually let you see what a scenario that we did for somebody else along these lines, because we've been talking to a lot of people about this concept, and it's been great. Now, one of the things, Todd, that I'm worried about here is, you've given us a lot of data today about, being 5 years out from retirement, and I saved that $100,000, and it sounds like a massive number. It's a big number. And yeah, $100,000 is a big number, but think about that. If you've got a mortgage that's been retired, and you've got car payments that are retired, and student loan debt that's retired, and credit card debt that's retired, it's easy to see that maybe your household debt service is $7,500 to $8,000 a month. That's not out of line. Well, $8,000 a month saved, or not paying in interest and all these other expenses, that's $96,000 for the year. Now, here's my concern, Todd. The market's going up, the market's going down. I don't know what I'm going to do. Is there some safe places to put my money that I don't have to worry about it? Because, once you get, one of the beauties of the IRA, the 401k, is they're great tools, 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old. I start getting 60 years old, 70 years old. You don't have the benefit of time. Are there some tools, some places we can put that money? Again, not giving financial advice here to anybody.
Sure. Well, people that are a little bit averse to the risk that's in the market right now, and they're afraid the market's going to be going down another 8, 10, 15% based on this recessive cycle that we're going into, and the Fed interest rate raises. So there are options right now for a person to actually make money when the market goes down. And that's a concept that everybody'd like to know how to do. It's very difficult to do, but we have trust companies and insurance trusts that allow people to invest in major indexes like the S&P 500, the NASDAQ. And they have tools that says if a client loses 20% in the market, they can actually get 20% credited into their account for that loss. If they want to profit when the market's down, we can get dual direction in their portfolio, or we can use what we call buffered ETFs that allow people to protect their principal and have that back in their pocket if the market's down a year from the time they invest. So I'll give you an example. We had a buffered ETF from a year ago that was protected up to 20% down. Well, right now the S&P over the last 12 months is down right close to that. They walked away with 100% of their principal, and we are redeploying that back in the market for them right now at where we call it a quasi bottom, if you will. We don't know where the bottom's at. But wouldn't it be nice to have protection on the down, or having a dual direction strategy where if you lost 10% or you were down 20%, the insurance carrier or the trust company we work with would actually put that money back?
And no one's talking about these things, right? You don't hear any place where they give this information. And I share all the time. You can go on Schwab, and you can go on TD Ameritrade, and you can go on all these other cut rate sources, and you might get some of them even talk about advice. Great advice costs you a little extra. You got to call somebody like Todd who does this every day, because I'm going to guarantee you, I don't guarantee very much, but I study the markets for 3 hours a day. Todd does this all day, every day. And he's got people that are feeding him information all day, every day. Do you? I know I do a radio show. We're on 6 days a week. I don't get this information fed to me other than when I have Todd, Todd and I are having a beverage together, or I have him on the air with me. So you have to have access to great advice. It does not come free. You get what you pay for, is I guess the bottom line. So if you want a cheap information, you may lose that 15%, or like we said, the Dow is down almost 20%, the S&P is down 10%, whatever the numbers are. A lot of people you talk about those down 10 or 20% and inflation up 10%. That's painful. Get some great advice. Give Todd a call. Give me a call at 800-306-1990. I'm more than happy to put you in touch with Todd Halterman. Dual direction, though, that's and ETF. That means ETFs generally are not a real expensive product, are they?
No, ETFs were designed by CPAs. They're very tax efficient, very low expense, and they help remove business risk to different areas. So if you wanted to own a Microsoft, but you didn't want to be dependent upon just one company, then you can own an ETF with technology companies in it, 10, 15, 20 companies in it, and it's in an exchange traded fund as a basket, and that trades as a stock. So it's very low expense, very tax efficient. And now, because we work with trust companies that offer these, it used to only be available to institutional investors, and we figured out a way to get this out to the retail market. So if you're an investor who's worried about losing money in the market, you can have protection of your principal. It can be liquid, and you don't have to hold it for multiple years. You can go year to year and protect that principal and have a chance to make money on the when it's down, make money on the up.
And that's a big issue right there, because I'm not going to get into real science here, because that's for the actuary guys to do. But let's just say, and I know we're out of time here, but I want to do this real quick. If you have a bundle of stocks, an investment of $1,000, and that goes down 20%, you're down to $800. You have to make more. You have to get 25% appreciation to get back to that same $1,000. So if you saved that $200, that 20%, if you had that protection that Todd's talking about, now if the market goes up 25% that following year, again, I'm not making any predictions, but now you're at $1,250 in your investment account. You're not just back at your original starting point. Big issue of protecting your assets as well as making money on your assets. If you want to know more about this, give me a call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Happy to put you in touch with my friend Todd Halterman. That's what he does for a living, is educate people and help you with all these different strategies, the ones that make sense for you, your family, your age group, your goals, your objectives. It's all unique. That's why I say that almost every answer is it depends. As always, also, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
My boss just pushed me